Strings are variables that store text, and sometimes you will need to work with text in JavaScript. For example, you might need to join or concatenate two different strings into one single string, or you might need to convert a whole sentence into uppercase. In this lesson, what I'll do is talk about some of the methods that you can use with strings so that you can perform basic string operations. Let's begin by talking about joining or concatenating different strings. I'm going to create two different strings, two different variables. I'll call the first one title, and I'll type in Mr. And another one will be called name, and let's type the name Pablo. I want to show now a text that says, hello, Mr. Pablo. So I'm going to type in console.log, and the first part will be hello. Then we know that there should be a space because it's going to be hello space, and then Mr. Pablo. In order for me to put in here the title variable, I have to use the plus sign. The same sign that we use for arithmetic operations. When used for strings, it means to join two different strings. So just by doing this, I will have hello, Mr. But then I also want to have it so that it says Pablo. Let's see what happens if I just type in name again. So see how we are joining three different strings. We need a space in between. So for that, we just have to add a string that's only a space. And don't forget the plus signs. If I reload the page now, we have the full sentence. What if I wanted to keep this in a variable instead of showing it on the console? Well, that's very simple. You could just create another variable that says, let's call it sentence. That variable will keep this whole thing. And then we just show sentence in the console. I want to transform sentence to uppercase. So something to mention, when you work with these methods to manipulate strings, what you get as a result gets you can store it in a different variable. So the original string doesn't necessarily change. I'm going to create another variable, let's call it S. And S will be sentence, but on uppercase. So I will type in sentence and then dot to uppercase. And then I'll put in brackets that close like this. So see how we're running this method in the same way that we have been using console.log and also alert to show message boxes. Let's refresh the page, and I'm going to go to the console and type in S, which is the name of that new string, and see how it's called hello, Mr. Pablo. But if I type in sentence, which was our previous variable, that one hasn't changed. So these methods don't modify the original one. Now, let's say that I do want to modify the original one and I want to make it lowercase. Then, if I want to modify the original one, I have to type in the variable, then the equal sign, and we will assign this to lowercase, like so. Refresh the page, see how we're showing it before we modify it, and then once it's modified, it should all be in lowercase, as you can see. And now the last thing that I wanted to show is how to extract a substring or an element from your string. So I'm going to create a new variable. Let's call this hello world JavaScript. And I'm going to have another variable b. And in b, I just want to grab the word world. I want to grab this part of the string and put it in the variable b. So b will be equal to a.slice. That's the method we will use, slice. And then we need to specify the beginning and the end of what we want to grab. The beginning would be the index of this letter, W. And you start counting from 0 all the way to this letter. So the first one, the index of the first one is always 0. So this will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we start in 6. Then how far do we go? If we don't enter anything, it will just grab world JavaScript. But I just want to grab this part. So I have to enter more numbers here. So this is position 6, position 7, 8, 9, 10. So I will enter 10. And I'm going to refresh the page. Let's zoom in a little bit, type in B, and we grab the world. Yeah, so the last position has to be the one that comes right after what we need. So in this case, 11. And that will give us the entire world. So to summarize, we can join different strings using the plus sign. These strings can be either variables, or you can just enter them directly using either single or double quotes. It doesn't matter. You can transform strings to uppercase and to lowercase, or cut parts of string using slice. And when you do that, you're not modifying the original string. The original string is not modified unless you intentionally assign this to the original string. Otherwise, you can just put it on another variable, or you could also just do console.log and change it to uppercase there, but it won't affect the original variable.